Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for coming to the closing keynote tonight for the AuthorTube virtual retreat. Can you guys let me know in the comments if you're able to hear me, just to make sure we don't have any technical difficulties to start with? So I'm just watching the comments to make sure. Hopefully, y'all are able to hear me. I'm coming through okay. Hey guys, thank you so much for coming today. It's so great to see you all here. Yay, y'all can hear me. Awesome. All right. So let's see, my headphones are talking back to me. Ah, technical difficulties. 1 second here, guys. Okay, we're just gonna work through it. All right, no feedback on that end. Awesome. All right, thank you guys so much for letting me know. Can you still hear me okay? All right, awesome. Yes. Oh, Devin, do you like the background? Lots of books. Yes, I am a huge fan of books and absolutely love having them in my background. Okay. Oh, yay. All right, we're past the technical difficulties. Thank you guys so much for coming tonight. So let me know in the comments if you have a favorite session that you've attended today. One of my favorites was the marketing one by Mandy Lynn. I really enjoyed that and learned some good stuff there. And also the editing one by Holly Davis. That was also awesome. Did you guys attend those? I think I saw some of you guys in there. So let me know if you guys, which ones you guys enjoyed the most. And if you can narrow it down to your top 1 to 3 takeaways for the day. There's so many great things we had the chance to learn today, so it might be hard to narrow it down that much. But if you can do that, go ahead and throw it in the comments. And while you guys are doing that, I'll go ahead and get started. I just wanted to let you guys know to start with that your words matter. Your words are important, and there are people out there in the world who your stories are going to resonate with. There are people who could be healed, encouraged, given a smile, entertained, lots of great things because of your words. So they are important and they matter, and you need to get them out there if that is what you want to do with your writing. And but as you already know from being in the writing world for, I'm sure we're all here with varying different experiences with how long we've been in the writing community. But as you already know, there are going to be lots of roadblocks to overcome along the way. And the better prepared you are to take those on, the easier it's going to be for you to get your words out there in the world where they can do good and you can enjoy seeing them out there in the world. And the more fun you're going to have while you do it. So, one of the most difficult roadblocks to overcome is failure. And society tells us that failure is bad, but actually, that's not true. While I will be the first person to admit that failure is not fun, and it can certainly be painful sometimes and embarrassing and not the most desirable outcome, failure is not a bad thing because there are so many great opportunities for learning through through the process. And any failure is a win if you can learn something through it that enables you to eliminate something that doesn't work so you can get better at the things that do. That's how any failure can be turned into a win. So I want to share a story with you guys that's going to help this make a little bit more sense. But first, have you ever heard the quote that goes like this? If you want to increase your success rate, you have to double your failure rate. I know that sounds a little crazy, so I want to share a story that's going to illustrate this point with you guys, okay? And then it'll make sense in just a second. So this story is about a guy named Bob, and I'll tell you who he really is in a minute. But Bob had just gotten back from fighting in the Vietnam War, and he went in search of a job as a salesman, and he got a great job at a big company, but he had a problem. He had assured the man who hired him that he was excellent at making sales calls. But this was not strictly the truth. And a few weeks in, Bob had the very worst sales numbers of the entire company. He was in danger of losing his job, so he called up his mentor to ask for some advice. And his mentor could have told him that he should go back to school to learn how to make sales calls better, or that he should just sound more confident on the phone, or this was clearly not for him and he should just give up and go find something else to do with his time. But instead of telling Bob how to succeed or that he should give up, his mentor said, "Bob, you aren't failing fast enough." And Bob was confused. He said, "Failing fast enough? All I do is fail. How could failing more possibly help this problem?" But his mentor assured him that unless he found a way to fail more, he was guaranteed to lose his job. So Bob was mystified, but he trusted his mentor. So he went in search of an additional job for extra experiences making sales calls. And he found a charity in need of callers to ask for donations in the evening. So every day, poor Bob would get up and go to his day job where he would make sales calls all day and get rejected over and over again and have to deal with all the failure. And then he would pack up and go to his night job where he would make sales calls to ask for donations for this charity all evening. It was not fun. It was cringy, difficult work for Bob. But over time, a change started happening. The more and more practice he got making sales calls, the more he started to notice what worked and what didn't. And the more opportunities he had to practice those things that it seemed like were working better. Until a mere year later, he left that company because he was so good at making sales calls that he was ready to start his own business. And when he left, they were very sorry to see their best salesman go. All right, so the point, oh, wait, let me tell you who this is. This is about Robert Kiyosaki, who is the renowned businessman and public speaker. And while he went on to fail a lot more throughout his life, he also succeeded so much more than all the people who weren't willing to try past a few failures. So the point is not failing more for the sake of failing more. The point is being willing to try more, even knowing that that means there's going to be more failures coming, at least in the beginning, as you are figuring things out. But the point is being willing to try more and learn from the increased failures that will come as a result of the increased trying that will eventually end up resulting in increased success. Does that make sense, you guys? I love this concept so much, and it has helped me out a lot in the past couple of years. And let me know in the comments if you're confused at all. I'm going to come back and answer all the questions at the end, so don't worry about that. I will be answering questions. And if Brittany or Alicia or Holly, my mastermind group, are in the comments, they might be able to help you guys out too in the comments as we go. All right, so perhaps even more important, though, than the concept of failing faster, as in trying more and learning more for the sake of learning how to do something better more quickly, is the actual meaning of the word faster. Have you guys ever heard of analysis paralysis? Let me know in the comments if this is a term you're familiar with. This is when you get so caught up in preparing for something, researching, studying, that you never actually start doing the thing that you're preparing for. And we writers are so prone to this. And it's so insidious because it looks like you're doing something productive. It even feels like you're doing something productive. But so often it is not actually productive. And like for example, have you ever gotten lost down the research rabbit hole where you were working on your book and you thought, "Oh, I need to look this up." And you go and Google it, and then you read an article, and then there's a link to another article that's kind of interesting and might have something to do with it, and then that links to another video that might have something to do with it, and then an ad comes up for something that you meant to buy the other day, and before you know it, all your writing time is gone, used up by all these distractions. And that's because a lot of times because of analysis paralysis, where too much preparation was going on and not actually being used to further things. And the problem with this is, while you definitely do need to prepare for things and to analyze failures so that you can learn things from them, if you spend too much time doing that and never actually get around to starting the thing that you're trying to do in the first place, then you're not really getting anywhere. All right, so let me give you a really awesome story about a guy who is fantastic at avoiding analysis paralysis. This is about Andrew Stanton, who is a Pixar director. His work includes A Bug's Life, Finding Nemo, WALL-E, among others. He's been there for a long time. He's been there since pretty much the beginning. And something that he encourages his team to do is to fail often and fail fast and to be wrong as fast as you can. I know that sounds crazy, but just listen. Here's how it works. What he would do whenever his team and he were encountering a problem that had literally never been faced before as they pioneered computer animation, he would say that rather than waffling back and forth between possible solutions to a problem, they should just jump right into one so that if it was the wrong choice, they still had time to go and try something else. And this is like mind blowing to me. This is such a great way to look at it. Have you guys ever heard of thinking like this? Like this was totally new to me when I read a story about this a year or so ago, and it's just such a great way of looking at it. And like the stories I'm sharing with you guys tonight are about people who have done really big things. And I want to do big things, and I'm sure you guys want to do big things too. And so being able to learn how other people who've done big things think, people in the writing community and also people outside of the writing community, is really beneficial. And I just love this story. Let me know if you guys have ever heard this story before and what you think about it. All right, so the more you try and fail and learn through it and are able to try again better the next time, the closer you're going to get to your goals. And the faster you're able to do that process, the faster those goals are going to be achieved. And failure is just part of it. That is just something that it's just going to happen, and you just have to make the best of it and learn from it as you go. And we've been dealing with failure since the very beginning. But here's the thing, when a baby is learning how to walk, nobody judges them when they fall the first time they try. And nobody judges them when they fall the other 5,000 times that it takes to try until they're able to walk and eventually run. And I think we writers need to remember that, because sometimes we're a little too hard on ourselves. And to an extent, we need to be hard on ourselves, because unless your career is to the point that somebody else is throwing deadlines at you and there's that pressure to make stuff happen, unless you're there, it's up to you whether anything ever gets done. And so we need to hold ourselves to a high standard and be very disciplined. But um, we also need to have some compassion on ourselves. And the compassion is not to allow weakness or bad behavior or laziness, but it's to keep morale up, to keep the wind in your sails. Because if you keep beating yourself up over failure over and over again, it's going to be so much harder to move forward. But the thing you need to do is, analyze a failure so that you can learn from it to make it worth it, so that you've learned something from it, it's worth it, you've been able to learn something from it that you can move forward with. But then you need to just eliminate it from your mind. Once you've eked out every bit of useful information from a failure, forget about it. It doesn't do any good to make yourself feel bad about it or to continue dwelling on how something didn't work. Once you have gotten all the useful information you can from it, just get rid of it and focus on the new information you have and how you can move forward with it. All right, so sometimes failure teaches us useful things like this. And sometimes failure can close a door that forces a previously unnoticed window open. I know that's kind of a silly analogy, but just let me explain, okay? So, when I was a young kid, my parents decided to homeschool me. And looking back now, I think they did a pretty good job. But when I was a preteen and a teenager, some of the kids in my community made fun of me and treated me like less than them because it was weird that I was homeschooled. And they would tell me sometimes that I must be really stupid to have to be homeschooled, or that I didn't have social skills and wouldn't be able to handle going to college or being a real adult in real life. And while I tried to pretend that these things didn't matter to me and that I didn't believe them, I lived in constant terror of proving these people right. And this went on through high school. And then when it was time to start applying for colleges, I was shakily determined to prove that I was just as capable as these bullies. I wanted to prove it to them and to myself, because you know, I also was afraid they were right. So a great opportunity for me to do this would have been to qualify for the Chancellor's Scholarship, a free ride for 4 whole years to the college that I wanted to go to. I found out junior year that my SAT scores were so close to qualifying that I had a very good chance of qualifying if I took the SAT again my senior year. So I studied very hard, did all the prep books with that freaking book that's like, huge and 3 inches thick, and I took the SAT again, and then there I was sitting in the advisor's waiting room, palms sweating and heart racing, wondering whether I'd be able to prove myself and what was going to happen next. And the advisor invited me into her office, and I sat down, and she informed me that I had raised my SAT scores, and she congratulated me, then informed me that I was still 10 points short of qualifying. 10 points, the value of one single SAT question. One question. I had failed at a free ride for 4 years by one question. And at the time, I was crushed. I thought this meant they were right about me. I was destined to be a failure for forever, and it was going to be horrible, and I felt like my life was over. And while this was a defining moment for my low self-esteem as a young adult, I, looking back now, could not be more incredibly grateful for this failure. Because even though it felt like I was like my life was over at that point and I was crushed, so many incredible, wonderful, absolutely fantastic things that I would never trade for anything have come because of this failure. My plan was to go and get a bachelor's of science in biology and then go to vet school, where I would still be right now at this moment if I had gone down that path. And I had always wanted to be a writer or an artist of some kind too, but my understanding was that it was much harder. It was pretty much impossible to make a living that way. So I decided I would be a vet because I'd also always wanted to be a vet. So had I succeeded and gotten that scholarship, I would have gone on down that path. I would not have written or published these books that I am so proud of and so happy to have been able to learn through the process of writing. And I would have missed out on so many other great opportunities that I've had. But most importantly, if I had managed to prove myself to those bullies, who would, of course, have forgotten about it by now and who wouldn't care, I would have missed out on so many of the most important, wonderful relationships in my life. I have so many fantastic friends through the writing community, and I would not trade them for anything. I would absolutely go through that crushing experience again to be able to be where I am today and have the wonderful friends that I have today. And so many people who I talk to on like a daily basis and who I see at least on a weekly basis. And anyway, that is an experience through which, like, doors were closed. I had planned to be a vet for forever, and that door was closed, and this great window that I would never have looked at otherwise was opened, and it was a really great experience, even though it took a long time to see the positive effects. So do you know of a time in your life where you experienced something like this? Let me know in the comments if you were ever crushed by a failure, but you can look back now and see an amazing result that came of it that would never have happened if you had gotten what you wanted at the time. Or do you have a story where you failed faster at something and been able to increase your rate of failure so that you could increase your rate of success and been able to see some cool results? Let me know about those in the comments, because those are such great stories and things that people need to hear and things that are worth remembering, because I'm so encouraged by this story. And I also didn't even think about it until I was preparing this speech, that like getting within 1 point clearly meant that I had some knowledge in my head if I was within 1 point of qualifying. Didn't even think about that at the time. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any stories like this that you can share in the comments, because they're really wonderful and worth taking the time to remember. So failure, while it can be really awful in the moment, don't let it crush you for more than that. Let it, they happen, but if you are able to focus on the good things in them and the things that you're able to learn and the good results that can come later, it is so much better, and you could feel so much better and move along to the next things that you want to do with your life. So now that we're in a better headspace about failure, the next thing I want to talk about is if something in the writing journey, and that is the actual enjoying of the writing journey itself. And so we have the ability to train our brains to focus certain ways. And we can actually choose to focus on the good things rather than the bad things in situations, even apart from situations dealing with failure, just in day-to-day life situations. And yes, I am talking about looking at the bright side. So I'm sorry that sounds cliche, but just hear me out and it's going to make sense in a minute. Um, Being able to choose, like, we have the ability to decide to choose to look at the bright side, or to decide to just, look at all the negative things, which is just going to bog you down and make you feel worse and make it harder to accomplish things. So let me tell you another story to illustrate this point. In 2019, I was in a car wreck and I totaled my car, completely totaled it, very dead car. So I was very upset about this because not only was my car totaled, but it was minutes before my husband and I were supposed to go get sushi, which is like one of my favorite foods ever. We were supposed to go on a date to get sushi, and I had wrecked that because I had totaled my car. And it was the night before I was supposed to leave for the Realm Makers Conference, which is a fantasy writers conference, a speculative fiction writers conference, and I had not been able to afford it for the past 2 years. And I'd finally splurged this year, and I wrecked my car the night before I was supposed to drive to St. Louis for it. Very bad timing. But because I had some good influences in my life around this time, I was aware that I had the power to choose to look at the bright side of the situation and see, to just experiment and see if anything good would come of trying to focus on the good things. And actually, so many good things did because, like, even though my car was totaled, I was fine. I could have been in a hospital, I could have been injured, but I was totally fine. Just I sat in my husband's car as we called our insurance agent and dealt with all that stuff. And another thing that was good was we still went to sushi. We dealt with insurance and the car and everything, and as the guy was coming to tow it, we left and we still went for our sushi date. And I was still able to leave for St. Louis the next day in my friend's car, and we drove to St. Louis in her car, and it was fine. And my experience there was in no way hampered by my car being totaled, even though it was a bummer that I was going to come home and not have a car. But another thing that was really good was that even though my car was destroyed, the trailer hitch on the back of the guy's truck destroyed my car but kept his car in good shape. So I could have been upset that his truck was fine and my car was destroyed, but I was able to look at it and be like, at least his car is okay, and because of that, his insurance is not going to come after me because the wreck was my fault. But because his car is fine, his insurance doesn't have to come after me. So I've only got to deal with my insurance. And also, he was fine. If the driver of the other car that I had plowed into had been hurt, it would have been a much more difficult situation for sure. So I was extremely grateful that he was fine. He was annoyed at first, as of course he had every right to be, but he was super nice. And by the end of it, was volunteering his friend to come and tow our car away. So as total car situations go, this was actually like the best one there possibly could be. And because I chose to focus on all the good things, I wasn't stressed. I've been in smaller wrecks before, also my fault because I'm a crazy driver, and I've always been way more stressed, and it's been a way more negative experience, even though it was smaller problems, and I've never totaled a car before. That was a new one. So, one other thing was that insurance was able to give us enough money for the paid off decent old car that we were able to buy cash. We were able to pay cash for another decent old car, and that meant that I didn't have to lose my little bit of money that I'm able to invest in my business to a new car loan, which would have been so sad. I was very afraid of that happening. But all these things that I was afraid of happening didn't happen. The situation ended up going fine, and as well as it possibly could under the circumstances. And I felt so much better about it, and I didn't have to be stressed about it while I was at the conference because I had focused on the positive side of things. And I am not a master at this. I am not always good about doing this. I do sometimes focus on the negative things and get upset about stuff, but I focus on the positive things a lot more than I used to. And I want to encourage you guys to do the same thing because it is so, so helpful. Whether it's in your writing life or your regular, your everyday life, those things are very connected. And your everyday life is going to influence your writing life a lot. And if you can reduce the stress of your negative or of your regular life by focusing on positive things rather than negative things, it's going to make it so much easier to come and sit down and have yourself in a right headspace to start writing. So let me know if you have a story similar to this in the comments. And along the same lines of looking at the bright side of negative situations, another really important thing to pay attention to is the goals that you do reach. Have you ever gone for a long time feeling like you're just not getting anything done and you're so not productive, but then you can look back and you can see that you actually have gotten a lot of things done recently? That's happened to me a few times before, and I've been like, why do I feel like I'm not getting anything done and I feel so down about myself, but I actually have accomplished some things. I just forgot about them because I was so in a hurry to get on to the next thing I needed to accomplish that as soon as something was done, I forgot about it. And recently I have started paying attention to the things that I've accomplished so that I actually I intentionally take time to notice goals that I have reached and to like congratulate myself, as silly as that might sound. And I don't have a party every time I accomplish something and cross something off my list. I just think, oh, good, I did that thing. Yay, I'm glad I got that done. Even though I didn't get to this thing, I accomplished this and this. And then I can feel good about myself and feel like in a better headspace, and not have to feel guilty about all the things I didn't get done. Do you guys ever try to do that to focus on your goals? I have another friend who is an accountability partner. She is also a writer, but she started off being an entrepreneur in other ways first. And she and I meet about once a month for an accountability meeting, and it's usually a several hour long meeting. And we intentionally start the very first hour or two of the meeting is all of just bragging about the things we've gotten done, basically just shamelessly bragging about how much we've accomplished, because you need to be able to do that sometimes to feel good about yourself, not to brag to everybody or be a jerk or annoying or anything, but to have a friend who you can be like, hey, let's be glad that we accomplished these things, yay us, let's have some coffee to celebrate or some ice cream or something. And that has been such a fun thing I've been doing the past year, being able to rejoice with her over all her goals that she's accomplishing and have somebody excited with me about stuff that I'm accomplishing. And if you guys are interested in doing something like that, I'm sure you know other writers, or you might could meet some in the comments down here, and maybe start a little accountability like goal praising party group or something, where you can be like, you can have a group where it's safe to brag and it's not going to be looked at as you're being a jerk and you're being snooty or something, and just be like, yes, I accomplished this thing this week, woo, and just be excited for yourself and be excited for your friends when they accomplish stuff, because that is super helpful and good for mental health, and just really nice. So let's see, along those same lines, do any of you guys have people like that you do stuff like that with, to let people know when you're getting stuff done, like accountability partners who keep you accountable and help you get things done, and be excited with you when you do get them done? Let me know in the comments if that's something that you guys are doing, because it's super helpful, or if you are planning to start doing it now as a result of this. So, when you're able to look at the bright side more and learn valuable things through failure and be able to be in a better headspace about all these things, it is so much easier to enjoy the writer journey. And have you ever stopped to think, like, am I enjoying this writing journey that I'm on? Am I really enjoying this? If you are not sure whether you are, you can ask yourselves these questions. If there was no chance, or a very, very small chance, that you could ever reach your goal, what would you keep doing what you're doing? Do you enjoy it enough that you would keep doing it for the sake of itself, and not just for for ambition or for money or something like that? And if writing is already paying your bills, if you've gotten to the point in your career where writing is your full-time job, if it didn't pay you money anymore, would you keep doing it? And if you can answer yes, because you enjoy the process, you enjoy the people that you work with from it, then congratulations, you already know you're enjoying your writing journey. That's awesome. If you said no, or that you're not sure, let me share this story with you. And there's one more story after this one, and then we'll be done, and I'll open it up to questions. So we're almost there. Thank you guys for sticking with me so long. All right, so this story is from Elizabeth Gilbert's book. It's either Big Magic or Eat, Pray, Love. I can't remember which one, but it goes like this. A famous, successful author was celebrating the release of the most recent of his best-selling books with a big event at a bookstore, an author Q&A, and a book signing. And one of the writers there, one of the people who asked him a question, was also a writer, and he said, "Sir, I have been writing at least as long as you, and I've been working just as hard as you, if not harder, and you're enjoying all the success and glory. Why is that? What am I not doing? What am I doing wrong? Why do you have all this that I don't have? How can I do something to have what you have? And for goodness sake, do not tell me to persevere, because if I hear that from one more person, I'm going to vomit." And the successful writer said, "No, I'm not going to tell you to persevere. I wouldn't dream of telling you that. I'm going to tell you to quit." And the audience was like, "Quit? How uninspiring. Why would you say that? What in the world?" And the successful author went on and said, "Sir, we all only have one life to enjoy. If you loathe your life because you're spending all your time writing and it's something that you hate, then stop. We've only got one life to live. Don't waste it doing something that you hate. Take up anything else, hunting, fishing, baking, collecting antiques, anything else, anything that would bring you joy in this one life that you have to live. And the writer said, well, what if none of those things bring me joy either? What then? And the successful author said, well, sir, if you have tried everything else there is and found that nothing brings you joy and nothing else will bring you joy, and your heart still longs to be a writer, then I'm afraid you have no choice but to persevere. And I think that story just hits the nail on the head so well, because there's there are so many struggles that you encounter, and there's difficulties with comparing yourself to other people who seem more successful or who've been at it for longer than you. But if you're enjoying it, then it's all okay. And if you're not enjoying it, then should you really be doing it? Or maybe you just need, to work on your attitude towards it a little bit. But let me tell you something else that's going to make this make a little more sense. I know somebody who is in her 60s, and she recently had her debut published by Tor, one of the big five. Now, this is a friend of a friend, so I don't know her personally, but this lady worked into her 60s to get her debut, her first published book, out into the world by the Big Five. And I don't know her personally, so I don't know what her writing journey has been like, but let's look at two possibilities. Let's say she loves writing and has been writing her entire life, 60 something years, and she has met people she's loved, she's enjoyed being in critique groups, she's enjoyed pitching to agents, and all the process, she's enjoyed it. Even though there's been some frustrations, she's enjoyed it, and now she has finally reached this huge big goal, and it's wonderful. That is a life well lived that I think we could all aspire to, even if it took that long to get to a goal. But what if she hated writing and she was striving for this goal just to prove somebody wrong or for some other reason that was not bringing her joy, and all that she cared about was getting that stupid book published so she could prove it, stick it to somebody, whatever. And then it took her all her life, 60 years, and she finally got it published. And now she's in her 60s and she's finally accomplished that thing. And she can look back and see all the years she spent miserable doing something she hated for a goal that she didn't really want. And even worse, what if she didn't get the goal at all? What if she hated writing and was just competitive and miserable and not enjoying it the whole time, all her life, and never reached the goal she was striving for? Again, I don't know this lady personally. I have no idea what her writing journey has been like, but let's strive not to be either of those second examples. Let's be, somebody who's enjoying what we're doing for our whole life, whether it's writing or something else. Let's make a point of enjoying it. Find the things in it to enjoy. And if you can't find anything in it to enjoy, then you can find something else to enjoy for your one life. But I think everybody here is probably able to find a lot of things they enjoy in writing. And I can say for me, if I couldn't get another book published until I was in my 60s, and I could never make enough money from writing to be a full-time author like I'd like to be, even if that was the case, I would keep doing what I'm doing because I love it. I love the process despite the frustrations. I love the people in my life because I'm a writer, and I would absolutely keep doing it even if I didn't get some of the payoffs and some of the goal-reaching and benefit things that I would like to be able to get someday. So let me know in the comments what you think about this, if this makes sense. How do you feel about this? Let me know what you think. And I've got one more story for you, and then we're going to open it up to questions. All right, so hopefully we're all enjoying our writing journeys. And even if we are, though, there are still discouragements, still writing slumps, times when the words are just not flowing and the desire is just not there like it used to be. And it happens to everybody. I had a writing slump last year that lasted like 6 months. I was still kind of writing, but it was hard and it was not as fun, and it was, just a slump, and they happen to everybody. But you should not give up in those slumps because of this story, okay? So in the 1800s, two men went off to make their fortunes in gold during the gold rush. And they found a plot of land that had tons of gold in it. So they covered up the gold they found and went off and staked their claim. And then they went and borrowed all the money they could from their friends and family and got everything they could invest into buying mining equipment. And they went and started mining that gold. and they like the gold was just coming out of the ground. It was awesome. They were super excited. The money was flowing. It was going to be awesome. But then the gold dried up. Frantically, they searched everywhere, all over the property for more gold, but couldn't find any. So, dejected, shamefaced, they sold the mining equipment for not very much money just to get rid of it and the land to a junk man and went back off to their regular old lives, majorly in debt and super bummed. But that junk man was a really smart guy, and he hired a mining engineer to come out and survey the land. And that mining engineer found gold 3 feet away from where those other guys gave up. 3 feet away. I'm sure you can imagine where I'm going with this. Sometimes the joy that writing brought before, or the like groove that you're trying to get in, the writing mood, whatever it is, the things that you want to try to do that you're struggling with more now than you used to, sometimes they're only 3 feet away. So don't give up on them, because they might be just around the corner. And you don't want to wonder, you don't want to look back and wonder, was I so close and I gave up? Or you don't want to see, like, those people, that story exists because those people found out about the junk man and ended up telling the story. And so, like, you don't want to be those people looking at, like, man, if we would have just tried for 3 more feet, we would have still been rich and all of our efforts would not have been for nothing. So be be the junk man, as unglamorous as that sounds, and don't give up when you encounter difficulties and dry spells, because it is going to get better again. You just have to push through it. My last slump, like I said, lasted for 6 months and I survived. Hopefully your slumps will not last as long as that, but something that you can do to try to get out of a writing slump, and to try to find the wealth of gold again, the writing words, the joy, all those things. Sometimes you can do like what the junk man did and ask for help. If you have writer friends in your community, you can ask them to, help you with the story that you're stuck on, or have a chat about something that is just a mental thing you're having about writing that's causing you problems. And he hired the mining guy, but you don't have to hire anybody. You could find friends who will trade critiques. And, you could say, I'm struggling with this. Can you read this and help me out? And I'll read something you're struggling with and help you out. You can trade off like that. And if you are new to the writing community and don't really know any other writers, the way that I started out getting feedback was I had a couple of friends from college who liked to read fantasy. So when I was looking for beta readers and critique partners, I asked my friends who I knew liked to read fantasy, even though they weren't writers, because I didn't know any other writers. So you definitely have people in your life you can ask for help. And if you want to go a little bit deeper, you can hire somebody. There's lots of writing coaches and consultants out there. And if you look in the link in my description, I actually have coaching calls available where you can talk to me about something you're struggling with, and I can help you get out of it. There's testimonials there for other writers that I've helped get out of some of these slumps. And right now, those calls are still on sale because of the COVID crisis. They're still on sale for 30% off. And there's also an opportunity for 2 writers to get free 6 weeks of coaching with me. I'm wanting to develop a coaching program to address these 3 particular issues. Clarifying your publishing goals, whether you want to go traditional, like large press, or traditional small press, or self-publishing, which one of those would be best for you based on your goals. That's one thing I want to help people find clarity with. And then also your author brand, how to best represent the brand that you want to be. And there's one other one. It's in my Instagram stories, and I'm blanking on it right now. Clarity and something else. You can check my Instagram stories for it, though. So there's an application in the link below, and you can apply to be one of those 2 writers that I'm going to take on for 6 weeks for free to help them with these things, so that I can learn a little bit more about how to teach about this. Okay? So, last thing. Also, before you leave, make sure you fill out the form below that is linked below for the AuthorTube virtual retreat. That if you put in all of the secret words, you can get entered for each secret word you put in. You can get entered for a Amazon gift card. And my secret word is shenanigans, because it is a delightful word. Does anybody else ever find a word that just makes them smile? It's just a beautiful word, shenanigans. It means you're solemnly up to no good and you're managing mischief, and it also just sounds fun to say. Does anybody else like the word shenanigans? It makes me happy. So That is the secret word for this one. So make sure you fill out that form and enter to win the Amazon gift card. And also, everybody, take a moment to thank Keelan for putting on this whole event. Without her, we would not have any of this awesome stuff all the awesome sessions we've had throughout the day and the writing sprints. She put this all together, and we should all take a minute to thank her for all of her work on that. All right, so I'm going to start answering questions right now. I'm going to pull up a seat and check out what questions we have here. And you guys, if you asked a question a long time ago, go ahead and ask it again because I want to prioritize people who. Oh, Shayla, thank you. Okay, creating habits to reach those goals. That is the third thing. So I'm starting to read the comments now. I'm going to start with questions that are the closest up. So go ahead, and if you asked a question a long time ago, ask it again because I want to prioritize questions for people who are still here because I know some people may have needed to leave to, go to bed or whatever they may have needed to do. All right, so I'm going to start looking for questions. Corinne, hello. I am sorry. Both of my lizards are sick, and I'm not going to be able to put them in here on this video for you. But I swear, next time I have a healthy lizard in my house, it will show up in a video because I love having them in videos. All right, let's see. What other questions do we have? T.A. Beasley, shenanigans. Yes, it is a delightful word. I'm glad you use it a lot. It is wonderful. Let's see what other questions we have. Let's see. How do you spell shenanigans? That's an excellent question. I don't know. Let's see. Somebody else spelled it. Hey, Corinne, thank you. Shenanigans. There you go. That's shenanigans. I could probably have not spelled it for you right off the top of my head right now. Thank you, Corinne. Thank you, Shayla. Yes, I hope that the lizards get well soon. Reptiles just take so long to heal. Their metabolisms are so slow. So we're going on a long time trying to get these guys better. The right mama, hello. Thank you for coming. Yes, spell check life. Yeah, spelling is not my strong point. Yes, thank goodness for spell check. Absolutely. All right. Is there free stickers or fun perks from this retreat? I want a remembrance. That is a great question, Shan Curdy. I don't know of any, but let's see. Keelan, are you still here? Do we have any stickers or any goodies like that? Maybe that's something that we should think about. Oh, here we go. Keelan says no, but that's a great idea. I'll get on it. We'll collect emails from those who fill in the feedback form and send out an email with something fun. So make sure you fill out the feedback form so that we know whether you want stickers or if there's something else that you want. We can find out exactly what the kind of stuff is that you want and make that available for you as soon as we can. I say we, I mean, Keelan, I might can help you with this. I don't know. I'm speaking for you over here. But let's see. G, this is an awesome closing keynote. Oh, thank you so much. I am so glad you enjoyed it. This is the first time that I have given this speech in particular, so I wasn't sure how it would go, but I'm so glad that you enjoyed it. That is awesome. Alley Cat, you have lizards. If I heard right, that's awesome. Yes, I do. Dragon wrangling is part of my brand, and I can't show you either of them right now because I turned their lights off because it makes my office really hot when all their heat lights are on. But I have a chameleon who is a foster who I'm helping to heal while she waits to get adopted. And I have a bearded dragon who I adopted weeks before he bit my finger and broke his face in the process because he had had really poor nutrition in his previous home before I adopted him, and his bones were very brittle. So he broke both mandibles. Just, yeah, all this broken. So he is in the second month of medical intervention for that and is not going to be making an appearance today, but hopefully we'll be able to soon. Let's see. I got lost in the comments a little bit here. Kay Adams. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for coming. It was great to see you here. And Alley Cat, you feel decent with spelling, but some words are tricky. Yeah, I can usually spell like medical terms pretty well because that's like the medical terms that I use on a regular basis in my job as a veterinary technician, I was able to use pretty well. But regular words are harder. Like, who needs to spell regular words? Spell check has us covered. Oh, yes. Okay. Thanks, Keelan. You've done an awesome job making this happen. Yes, G, she has. Thank you. Oh, Keelan, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you enjoyed it. That means so much to me. Thank you, Teresa and Holly. Thank you guys so much. And let's see. Comments jumped again. I was at Jasmine Ray. I love that you do that. That's amazing. Thank you. Are you talking about the lizards? The lizard stuff? Yeah, that's so when I didn't go to college to become a vet, I went to college to become a vet tech instead, which is like what a nurse is to a doctor. I'm like that to a veterinarian. And I worked at an exotic only clinic, and I've got a picture of myself with a tiger actually, and it's a pretty cool picture that maybe I can share that sometime if you guys want to see that. But I had a lot of great experiences working there. Another thing I wouldn't have had if I had gotten my way and gone on to my college plans that I had expected. So I'm glad that all those things didn't work out so that cooler things did work out. Oh, Heather, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Let's see. Greatly inspirational. Shankurti, thank you so much. When will the next retreat start? That's a great question. Keelan, when will the next retreat start? I don't know. I've already got ideas for things that I would like to do for presentations, though. So when you start looking for people, hit me up because I would love to be involved in the next one. Okay, let's see. Ryan Medina, hey man, how's the coffee? I have not had coffee all day, and I'm gonna have a lot of coffee tomorrow to make up for it. Keelan. Okay, quarterly. Yes. Okay, so that's right. I knew that. So the next one will be maybe in early August. Awesome. I'm so excited. I am super excited. Oh, Heather, I know. Poor bearded dragon. He got to be tube fed for a month because he couldn't use his jaw to chew. And he's finally able to chew now. He ate spinach today without me having to tear it into teeny little bits. He ate full pieces of spinach. I am so proud of him. Oh, okay, let's see. Oh, the keyword, it's shenanigans. Yes, sorry, Dania, that you missed that. The keyword is shenanigans. I don't know if I made it very clear, but hopefully I did. But shenanigans, because it is a delightful word and it reminds me of managing mischief and solemnly swearing I'm up to no good, which is delightful. My favorite pair of socks is a mismatched pair of socks, and one of them says managing mischief, and the other one says, or no, mischief managed, and the other one says I solemnly swear I'm up to no good. And those are like my lucky mismatched pair of socks. All right. Thank you so much, Ryan. I am so glad that you enjoyed the speaking. Oh, Corinne, the next book. Yes, I don't know. I am working on it right now. It was due yesterday to my critique partners, but because I was working on this keynote so hard, I had to push it back a week. So I'm sending it to my critique partners next week. I'll be working very hard on it next week. It's called The Cathawir, and let me tell you, this stack of books right here, when the third cover gets added, there's going to be a splash of white and a splash of blue, and it's going to be gorgeous. I can't wait to share it with you guys. I don't know if Ingrid Nordley is here. I think I saw her in a session earlier today, but if you guys need cover art or any kind of art, let me know, and I will get you the information for Ingrid Nordley, who did these amazing covers. Here, let me just. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me now. Hopefully you can. I think I fixed it. When I stood up, I ripped. Let you guys can hear me now. No sound. Oh no. Can you hear me now though? Okay. I think that's a yes from Corinne. Yay. Okay. I'm so sorry, guys. When I stood up and started to fall backwards, getting my covers from back there, I ripped this little thing apart on the headphones. Not apart, but just one of the cords came out. Don't worry, Jen, who's letting me borrow this headset, it is not broken. I will return it to you in one piece. All right. I don't know at what point I lost you guys. I guess I was saying that yes, Ingrid Nordley is awesome and did a great job on the covers. And if you need any art, let me know, cover art or character art or anything, and I will put you in touch with Ingrid because she is wonderful. All right, I'm glad you guys can hear me again. Do you guys have any other questions about anything we talked about tonight, or let's see, anything else? All right, Corinne, yes, standing up to get the books, it went out. I think so, but I think you guys can still hear me again now, it looks like. So, yeah. All right. I'm going to scroll way back and let's see if there's any questions way back that I missed while I wait to see if any more are coming in. Let's see. Oh, thank you guys. Kimberly, thank you about liking my aesthetic. I'm so glad you do. Good. Thank you guys so much. I'm glad you guys have been able to hear me for most of the time. Hey, Brenda Glass. That's my grandma, you guys. Look at her being on YouTube. So awesome. Nice job. Yes, failing faster. Yes, poor Bob. I know. But he persevered and had a great time later on. Yes, Mandy Lynn's marketing session was so good. Yes, my author platform is more toward other writers, so I feel like I need to get a second Instagram or something going toward just readers. Uh, that sounds like so much work. So I haven't decided how to do that yet, but that's something I'm thinking about. Oh, the baby example about walking. Yes, the right mama. That we've got to remember that because being too hard on ourselves is not being helpful. All right, let's see if we've got any new comments from you guys. Any questions? All right, it looks like there's no more questions. Let's see, how many people do we still have here? Let's see. Looks like we have 24 people still here. Okay, so does anybody have any more questions? If not, I will go ahead and end this in a few minutes. Um, and if I did not answer your question, if I missed it, you can send me an email and I will try to answer that for you. If you want to get more in depth about anything that we talked about today or any other writing related stuff, consider booking a consult call and check that out and see the testimonials from other writers. Bye, Heather. Thank you so much for coming. I'm so glad you could be here. And Corinne, what inspired you to begin writing? I don't remember at the very beginning. I remember when I was 6, I started writing a story called George the Galapagos Tortoise that was about a tortoise egg that was dislodged from a very shallow nest by a dog because there was a boy and his beagle named Bagel, which was such an original idea. And they were playing fetch, and the dog hit the egg into the ocean, and the egg floated from the Galapagos Islands to the Komodo Islands, where there were Komodo dragons who would be the bad guys. I don't know if they're actually connected by water or not, but that was my idea. And then he found he like broke some lizards out of a pet store and broke some other, like a bird out of somebody's room. And then they went off and had shenanigans and adventures. And that was the first book, first book idea that I can remember starting to write. And then um, what inspired me to start doing it seriously was in 2015 when I was going to graduate in a few months from my vet tech college program, and I was about to get married, and I was super busy, but I was so exhausted of wedding planning and so exhausted of studying. Like, I cared about my degree, I was excited about my degree, I was excited about getting married, but I was exhausted of the wedding planning and the studying, and I just wanted to do anything but either of those things. And I ran across a blog post by, oh, I can't think of what her name is. I'll share it if I think of it in a minute. But I ran across a blog post, and it was so cool because it compared Haymitch from The Hunger Games and Hagrid. And I was like, they're nothing like each other. Haymitch is a turd and Hagrid is awesome. And he's like the creature handler guy who I totally relate to. And it was talking about how they were both mentor characters. And like before I knew what a mentor was in writing, I was just like, how are they similar? They're so different. But I read that blog post and then I started reading every blog post she had written. Better Novel Project, that is the name of her blog, Better Novel Project. So that got me starting to write because I was up to shenanigans. I was solemnly swearing I was up to no good, and I felt like I was getting away with something because I was not wedding planning and I was not studying for my finals when I was writing and when I was reading these blog posts, and it was so delightful. It was so fun to feel like I was getting away with something. That's how I started seriously writing in 2015, and I was writing the Gwythinian at the time, this dragon one right here, and there we go. And then well, it took a little bit, and then I wrote more books after that. I'm gonna grab some water because my throat is going. Okay. Keelan, can you please write and publish this book? Maybe one day. I mean, Mandy just came out with a kid's book. Maybe I'll come out with George the Galapagos Tortoise as a kid's book. Maybe it could happen. My mom actually has been, Mom, are you in here? Are you in the comments? I haven't seen you. But hi, if you're out there. She's been cleaning house and going through some old stuff, and she found the original notebook from when I started writing George the Galapagos Tortoise. If I had it in the office, I'd show it to you, but it's somewhere far away, and I'm not going to get up again and risk breaking my sound. All right. Do you guys have any other questions? I see there's still some people here, and I'd love to answer any other questions you have. But I know it's getting pretty late for some of us. But thank you guys so much for coming. This was so fun. Let's see, Shayla. Thanks for this great session, Savannah. You're a wonderful speaker. Oh, thank you so much. I hope you have a lovely day over in Australia, Shayla. And yes, I'm gonna have a good night. I have Qdoba waiting for me, and I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read my friend's book, Michelle. I don't know if you're out there in the comments or if you're out there watching, but my friend Michelle, who is one of my precious, precious writer friends, who I would not have known if I had succeeded in my college, college things and the scholarship and everything. She has a fantastic book called Kill the Beast. It is a Beauty and the Beast retelling in which Red Riding Hood is hired to kill the beast. Isn't that such a good tagline? Like, we all need taglines like that. Oh my gosh, I love it. So I'm reading that right now. And yeah, when I leave here, I'm going to go eat Qdoba and read that. Let's see. Right. Holly, thank you for closing us on a best note. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you enjoyed this speech. And Shan Curdy, thank you so much, Keelan and Savannah and everybody else. Thank you so much for coming. I've seen you in comments all throughout the day, so I know you've been in a lot of these sessions, and thank you. And may the odds be ever in your favor for winning the Amazon gift card, because I know you've got a lot of the secret words. Let's see. Kristen, the writer, says thanks to Keelan and all the volunteers. Thank you. Yes. Thank you for all the thank yous, you guys. Mary Wimbley said this is an awesome keynote speech, so inspiring. Thank you so much. I am so glad that you found this inspiring. That is exactly what I was hoping to do, is inspire all you guys. So thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this unless I see any more comments come up in the next couple of seconds. And if you are interested in applying for that, the free 2 weeks of coaching so that I can help you guys learn stuff and learn how to best teach things, check out the application in the application link in the description below. And if you have any other questions, if I missed your question, just email me. I think I put my email in there. If not, I'll just put it in the comments real quick. Here's my email. If you have any questions that I missed. So feel free to reach out. And the Right Mama says huge thank yous all around. Thank you so much. Thank you, Keelan. Thank you, JJ Otis. Yes, you guys are awesome. Thank you, Alicia, for coming. And Alicia has been trying to do a 10K day. I think she's about 5K in right now. So let's all root for Alicia. Go write those words, girl. Thank you for taking a break from writing to come in here and encourage me while I'm speaking. I appreciate that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream, but hopefully I will still see you guys around. I am usually most active on Instagram, and also I'm here on YouTube. I have a new video come out about every week. So subscribe to my YouTube channel for more inspirational stuff like this, and lots of other writing related tips and some writing businessy things too. And yes, Keelan, as Keelan says, please tell your friends about the retreat, because this is, something that we want to be able to share with lots of other people. And, right now with the world being as it is, a free virtual event is like perfect. So share this with your friends so they can participate too. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming. All right. I'm going to go ahead and close it, and I will see you guys around. And I hope you guys have a lovely evening or day wherever you are in your time zone. And thank you so much for coming. Bye, guys. I'm going to just wave bye.